Hi everybody, this is Courtney with Fiber Fox Studios, and tonight what we're going to be working on is this border right here. I've had several requests for this particular border, and so we're going to be working that up today, and I'm going to show you how to go about doing it. It's actually a border that you can use on any blanket. This is a baby blanket that I made, and the way that I tied this border in, if you look here, I had ended with a single crochet all the way around the edge of this blanket in the same yarn that I went ahead and worked up this portion in, and this is size 3 baby weight yarn, so a lightweight yarn. And then I moved up to a regular 4 weight worsted weight yarn right here for the final. And this particular version that I'm showing right here does not have the picot edge on there, but you can add a picot, and I will show you how to do that. When I do the picot on it, picot actually lands on these double crochet puff stitches, and this particular border was actually inspired by the kimono cardigan and the stitch that I was doing in that, and that's another tutorial that I have here on my channel. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move over this piece out of our way, and we're going to take a look at a sample piece that I made up, which for this sample what I did was use just all worsted weight yarns so that you can see how it looks when you work it up. And this is without the picot again, and I started the picot down here to show you how that works out, and I've got a little stitch marker right here, but my stitch marker is a paper clip. But I'm going to work here on the other side so that you can see how you go about attaching and doing your foundation for this particular fan stitch. So it is your normal double crochets, and then we have a double crochet chain 1 for the second, or I guess this would be the third row on it, because you got to lay a foundation for it, and that'll count as our row 1. And then we have 9 double crochets on this right here to form the fan, and then we have a double crochet chain 1 to form the third row. And then our final row, or your potential final row if you don't do the picot, is going to be these double crochet clusters separated by a chain 3. So we're going to get started here on this side, and I'm going to switch to a smaller hook because I am using the recommended yarn for this, or size yarn for this, is the 3 weight. So I've pulled out some 3 weight, and I'm going to go ahead and use that. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take your blanket or whatever you're going to add this to. I've added it to several different things, but typically you're looking for a border for a blanket. And so you're going to go about this by adding your yarn on, and I'm going to start right here. Just get my hook in. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead, and I'm doing it all in different color yarn so you can see exactly what the rows look like and how I'm working. So we're going to go ahead and add this yarn on, and I do always knot my yarn. Right now I'm just going to bring it onto my hook, and I'm going to anchor that by doing a chain just to anchor it with both the tail and the working piece of yarn together. So I've got both of those there, and I'm going to anchor that down, and I'm going to kind of pull that a little tight. And to start out, what you're going to be doing is a chain 5. So we've already got 1 chain, so we're going to go 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to be skipping 3 stitches down here. So you're going to want to skip over 3 stitches and crochet into the 4th. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, and go right here into the 4th. I'm going to grab that stitch up. Oops. And you're going to continue to lay this foundation all the way around the edge of your baby blanket or curtain or whatever it is as you're putting this border on. So I've got 3, 4, and 5. So we're chaining 5. We're skipping 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3, and going into the 4th and doing a single crochet to anchor it. So we're going to go ahead and work on down your row. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3. Anchor in your 4th with a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Go into the 4th and anchor it down with a single crochet. And you're going to continue on down until we can meet back up after you've got your chain 5s anchored down all the way around your project. Then we'll meet back up at the end and we will continue on to our row number 2. Alright, so now we're ready to begin row 2. And what you're going to do is you're going to possibly be continuing on in the same color yarn. For the tutorial, I am switching so that you can see exactly what we're doing and where our stitches are going. But in the original design, the foundation, the row 2 and row 3 were all in the same color, and I switched colors at the very end. It's completely up to you. So to go ahead and start row 2, what we're going to be doing is 9 double crochets into this ring. So to start that double crochet, I've locked on my yarn with a chain stitch, and I'm going to go up 2 more to form our first double crochet. That's going to count as our first double crochet, I should say. So that's my first double crochet, and now I'm going to do 8 more right directly into this ring that we created for our foundation. So here's number 2. Move that tail out of the way. Here's number 3. Let me move that over. Pull out some more yarn. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and last but not least 9. So that's what we have. So now we're going to move over here into this next chain 5 space, and we're just going to do a single crochet to anchor that down. Alright. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to move over into this next chain 5 space, and we're going to anchor that down with a single crochet. And we're going to repeat that one more time before we start our next fan. So let's chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to come over here to the next chain 5, anchor it down with a single crochet. And now we're not going to chain anything. We're just going to go immediately into doing our double crochet. So we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook, insert it into this next chain 5 space, pulling up a loop. We're going to pull through 2 and pull through 2. And that's a double crochet, just for anyone who needs a refresher. And now we're going to continue on, and we're going to do 9 more double crochets into this loop. So there's my 3rd. Here's my 4th. 5th. 6th. 7th. Here's number 8 and 9, and we're going to go back and check our count, because it's really important that we have all 9 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we do. So now we're not going to chain anything. We're just going to move over here into this next chain 5 space, and we're going to anchor down with a single crochet, just like so. And now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to move over here to this next chain 5, and we're going to anchor down with a single crochet. And we're going to chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to move over to this next double crochet, or I'm sorry, chain 5 space, and we're going to anchor down with a single crochet. So that's what we have so far. I know I got some wild colors going on here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. Now we've done the 2 chain 5s, anchoring down, and we're going to move immediately into doing 9 double crochets in the very next chain 5 space, I should say. So that's number 2 right here. Here's 3. Oops. 4. 5. 6. 7 and 8. Now we need one more for number 9. Now we're going to check our count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So for this sample piece, I've already reached my end, but if you're doing around a baby blanket or around an adult size blanket, lapghan, or anything else, you're going to continue on the same manner. So you're going to have your 9 double crochets in one of the chain 5 spaces, anchor into the very next with a single crochet. You're going to chain 5 and jump over to the next chain 5 space and anchor down with a single crochet. You're going to chain 5 again, and you're going to jump over to this next one. So over these 3 foundation loops that we made, we're going to be anchoring 3 times. So doing 2 chain 5s and then anchoring with our single crochets. And then we're going to move over into the next chain 5 space and do 9. And we're going to keep repeating that on down until you've reached the end or come back around to the corner on your blanket. Alright, so you should be finished and coming back with me. Otherwise, you've paused this video and you're still working. And I'm about to get started on what's going to be our row 3 for this. So what we're going to do here, you're going to be working coming all the way around. I'm having to attach new yarn each row so that I can do this tutorial. But if you come back around, this stitch is actually going to be anchored down into a chain 5 space with a single crochet. So it's going to look like this when you get back around to it. And what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you get into that very first double crochet, which is our chain 3, that's counting as our first double crochet. And you're going to want to go directly into the top of that stitch. And that is where you're going to begin your next double crochet. And we're going to be doing a double crochet, a chain 1, and a double crochet into the very next stitch. So each double crochet is going to be getting a double crochet right on top of it, and they're going to be separated by a chain 1. So we're going to go ahead and start this by chaining up 3 in my case. Otherwise, you're going to be coming around and you're just simply going to do a regular double crochet, and then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to do a double crochet right here into the very next stitch, just like that. You're going to do another double crochet. And if you notice, I actually chained up 4. If you're switching colors at this point, that's the same thing you're going to do. Is you're going to chain up 4 to start. The first 3 being your double crochet, and then obviously the chain being your chain space. So now we're going to chain again, chain 1. And we're going to go here into the very next stitch and do a double crochet. Just like so. And now we're going to chain 1 again, and we're going to continue on until we've completed this entire fan, and you're going to have 9 double crochets separated by a chain 1. So just continue on down until you reach the end of this fan. Your very last stitch is going to be a double crochet, no chain after it. So we're going to continue, and I right now have 6 stitches, chain 1, 7th double crochet, chain 1, 8 double crochet, chain 1, and 9. Alright, so got our 9 double crochets, each one separated by a chain 1. And we're going to anchor into this next chain 5 space with a single crochet. So just go right down there, no chain after that last double crochet. Now what we're going to do is a chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to skip immediately over to this next chain 5 space and do a single crochet to anchor that in. And now, as you can see, we're over here to our 9 double crochets again. So we're going to wrap our yarn and go immediately into this very first one, which is really easy for you to see since I have done the different color yarns, and that's why I did that. If you have done all in the same right here, you're going to have to make sure that you're finding where your set of 9 double crochets starts in this chain, and you want to stick your finger in there and separate that, and make sure that you go right here into this very first double crochet. That's where you want to be, and you want to do a double crochet right on top of it. And we're going to continue just like we have been, and we're going to do a chain and then our double crochet in the very next stitch, just like that. We're going to chain, and we're going to continue on, and we're going to make sure that when we end this, we have 9 double crochets, each separated by a chain. And that is how you do this entire row. You're just going to do the same thing, and you're going to have your lock down here with a single crochet, a chain 5, locking down the very next chain 5 space with a single crochet, and immediately moving into your double crochet separated by a chain. And you're going to continue on down that same manner, and I'm going to finish this out with you since I have such a short row to work on. So here's my double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet, and chain, double crochet, and a chain. And I can see, because the way I've done mine with the different yarn colors, I can see exactly where my 9th double crochet is with no mistake. So now we're going to go back. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're not chaining after that last double crochet. We're going to go immediately into the chain 5 space and do a single crochet, just like that. Now we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to jump over here to this next chain 5 space, and we're going to do a single crochet. And now we're going to go ahead and jump immediately into our fan, and we're going to do a double crochet in the very first double crochet. So you're going to make sure that you're separating this chain right here, this chain space that we're anchoring in. Make sure that you're not confusing that and going into the single crochet, because you'll end up with too many stitches. So we're going to go right here into the very first one and do a double crochet. Now we're going to chain 1, do our second double crochet, chain 1, third double crochet, chain 1, fourth double crochet, chain 1, fifth double crochet, chain 1, sixth double crochet, chain 1, 7th double crochet, chain 1, 8th double crochet, chain 1, and 9th double crochet, chain 1. And that's what you're going to end up with. It's going to look just like that. You're going to pause the video here and continue on down if you're doing an actual blanket border, and then you're going to meet back up with me in just a moment, and we'll go over our next row, which is our row 4, and I'll also show you how to put on the peacoat. Alright, so you're going to be meeting me back around at your border, and you're going to be ending it by anchoring into your chain space, and then you're going to be scooting on up here to your first double crochet, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a double crochet right into that partially. So in my case, what I'm going to do is a chain 3, and then I'm going to be holding it. So for you, when you're coming around, you're going to be ending in a chain space, doing an anchor, and you're going to need to slip stitch over to your first double crochet and then move your yarn up by chaining up 3. And then we're going to do our cluster stitches. So we're going to wrap our yarn, we're going to insert back into the same exact space right there, same spot, and we're going to pull up a loop, and then we're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. Now we're going to wrap our yarn again, and we're going to insert back into the same stitch, pulling up a loop, we're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. So we've got 3 loops on our hook, and we're going to go ahead and grab our yarn, turn our hook down so that we can slide through all 3 loops on our hook. We've got our first double crochet cluster. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to skip the very next stitch right here. So we're going to skip this chain space, skip this stitch, skip this chain space, and we're going to come into the top of this next double crochet. So we're going to skip all of that and come here, right here. And we're going to start our next cluster. So we're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We're going to wrap our yarn again, insert our hook, pulling up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We're going to wrap our yarn one more time. We're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. Now we've got the 4 loops on our hook, and we're going to pull through all 4 loops. Now we're going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to skip this chain, we're going to skip this double crochet, we're going to skip this chain space and move immediately over here into this one. So we're skipping all of that and coming right here, and we're going to be doing another double crochet cluster. So we're going to wrap our yarn and insert our hook, pulling up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We're going to wrap our yarn again, insert into the exact same space, just like so, pulling up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We're going to wrap our yarn one more time, insert back in here to the same chain, or stitch I should say, pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We're going to have 4 loops on our hook, and grab our yarn and pull through all 4 loops on our hook. So that's how it's starting to form that. Now we're going to chain 3 again, 2 and 3, and we're going to skip again this very next stitch right here. We're going to skip this chain, we're going to skip this next stitch, we're going to skip this chain, and we're going to move immediately into this stitch right here, and we're going to go right in the top of that double crochet, and we're going to do another cluster. We're going to pull up our loop, pull through 2, and hold it. Wrap your yarn, go back down to the same exact stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We're going to wrap our yarn again, go back into that same exact stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. Now we've got 4 loops on our hook, so we're going to grab our yarn and pull through all 4 loops. Now we're going to chain 3 again, and we're going to do the same thing. So right here in this stitch, we're going to skip this next stitch right here, skipping over that chain space, skipping this chain space, and moving right into our very last double crochet, and we're going to insert our hook and do our cluster again. So we've wrapped our yarn, we've inserted our hook, we've pulled up 2 loops, and we're going to pull through 2. Wrap your yarn again, insert your hook, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, and you're going to hold it. Wrap again, insert into the very same stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and you're going to hold it. You've got 4 loops on your hook, and that's how you know you're done. You're going to grab your yarn, and you're going to pull through all 4 loops on your hook, just like that. And now we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to move over here. We've only got 1 chain 5 space left in between, and we're going to anchor down with a single crochet. And now we're going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to move over here. Now we're at our next fan, and we're going to make sure that we go into this very first stitch, not into the single crochet, but into the very first double crochet. We are going to do our cluster, so we're going to wrap our yarn, we're going to insert our hook into this very first stitch, pulling up a loop, we're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We've got 2 loops on our hook. Wrap your yarn again, insert into the same exact stitch, pulling up a loop, we're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We're going to wrap our yarn again, insert into the same exact stitch, pulling up a loop, we're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. Now we have 4 loops on our hook, so we know we're done. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through all 4 loops, and we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to continue on skipping the very next stitch and the chains in between, moving on to this stitch right here. So we're skipping all of this and coming right here and doing another cluster, just like what we just did on the last set. So we're going to go ahead and do our double crochet cluster. You know that when you've got 4 loops on your hook is when you are ready to pull through all 4 loops and close out that cluster. So we've got 4 loops. We're going to pull through all 4 loops, and we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. So now we're going to skip over the stitch right here and move immediately over here to this double crochet and do our next cluster. So we're going to go ahead and do that cluster just like so. And when we've got the 4 loops on our hook, we're going to go ahead and close that out by pulling through all 4 loops. So that's what you have. And you're going to keep working in the same way all the way down your project, and then you can leave it just like this. It's a beautiful finished edge, or you can do the picot, which I will show you. So you're going to go ahead and pause the video here, finish out your row all the way around, and when you meet back up with me, I'm going to show you how to do the picot on top of this if that's what you choose to do. Otherwise, when you finish this out, you're going to be finishing with the chain 3, and you're going to do a chain 3 and come up and lock it in to this cluster that you started out with, and you would just put that stitch right into there, and I will show you real quick right here. If you look at it, you can see that there's a wide stitch when you clustered. There's one wide stitch right there at the top, and that's where you would slip stitch to go ahead and tie off if you've gone all the way around a blanket, for instance. So just go ahead and finish out, and then we'll come back and show you the picot real quick, and then you will be done. Alright, so we are back, and if you decide that you're going to do the picot edge on here to finish off, you've slip stitched into this top of this cluster stitch. So all you're going to have to do is go ahead and chain up 3 from that point so that we can do our first picot. In my case, I'm going to add a single crochet so that I have something to work into on this, because I'm having to tie on my yarn, so I've switched colors for the tutorial. So in your case, you're just going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to come down and you're going to find the little loops in the front of your slip stitch, and you're going to go ahead and pull through and form that picot. And now we're going to be doing a single crochet, and we're over here in this chain space at this point. So we've got a single crochet, we're going to do a second single crochet, and we're going to do a third single crochet, because that's a chain 3 space and we want to take up all that space. So now we're back over here to our cluster. So we're going to go ahead and do a single crochet right into the top of that cluster, just like that, and you're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're looking for these 2 little ridges here in the front, and that's where you're going to stick your hook in, and you're going to grab your yarn and you're going to pull through those 2 loops, and then you're going to pull through the loop that is on your hook, and that is how you form the picot. Then you're going to go ahead and do a single crochet directly over here into the chain space, and you're going to follow that by 2 more. So 3 single crochets into the chain space, just like that. And then we're back over here, and if you look at the top of your cluster, you can see where we're going to be putting our picot in. That nice wide stitch is where I choose to do my picot, because when I finish out my picot, it ends up being dead center right here, and that's what we want. We want it to all line up and look really pretty. So we're going to do a single crochet right into that wide section of your cluster stitch, and then you're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then you're going to find these 2 little ridges. It's like 2 little pieces of yarn that are right there in the front of the single crochet. You're going to insert your hook and pull through those 2 and pull through, and if you need to use your finger to kind of hang on to that, feel free. That's how I do it to get the picot through. Now we're going to go ahead and chain right into doing a single crochet right into that chain space, and we're going to do 3 single crochets into the chain space, just like that. And now we're over here at our cluster again, and if you look at your work, you can see that wide stitch is where we're going in, and we're doing our single crochet, and then we're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to come back down here, and if you look, it's positioned right there. Hopefully you guys can see. Right here, there's 2 little ridges, and that's where we're going to go into. We're going to slip underneath both of those, and we're going to grab our yarn, and we're going to pull through, and we're going to pull through, just like that. And you see how I grabbed a hold to kind of move that stitch with me? If that makes it easier for you, then that's how you can do your picots as well. Now we're going to skip over this section right here, moving right here into this chain space, and do a single crochet. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to do those picot one more time to finish off this little section, so you can see how that's done. And I mean, when it's done in a the same color yarn, it's gorgeous. It's done in a contrasting yarn. In this particular, if these went together, and in where I'm sitting, the colors do go a little bit better together. On camera, they probably don't. But if it is a corresponding yarn, maybe something that you have down here in the blanket section, and you're bringing that back up here, that just makes your eye travel through the project a little bit better. So don't feel nervous about playing with your color. You can always pull this out. Nothing's permanent on it. We haven't knotted anything in. We've got our tail still hanging. I do all that knotting at the end after I'm done. So just keep that in mind. You can experiment with your color, see how you like it best. And now we're back over here at our cluster stitch, and we have that nice wide stitch that we're going to go into and do our single crochet. And then we are going to go ahead and do a chain 3, and then come back down looking for those 2 little bumps, and we're going to slip our hook underneath those, and we're going to pull through, and I'm grabbing a hold of the chain 3 that I made. So I've got that in my hand, I'm helping it through, and that's how I finished that out. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, or I'm sorry, I'm going to single crochet 3, 2, and 3, because I'm over here at a chain space again, a chain 3 space. Now we're at that join in between the 2, and you can picot right on top of this single crochet, and that looks really cute. And then you're going to do your 3 single crochets on up this chain space right here, and then do a picot on top. So I will follow through with you on that one. Now we're over here, we're in the top of that single crochet from the previous row. We're doing a single crochet right on top of it, and we're going to chain up 3, and we're going to come back down, and we're looking for those 2 bumps, and we're going to get our hook right up underneath those 2 bumps in the front of our single crochet, and we're going to pull through, and we're going to pull through, just like that. Slip stitch all the way through. Now we're going to go ahead and do our single crochet right here into that chain space. We've got a chain 3 space, so we're going to put 3 single crochets right down in there, 2 and 3. And now we're back over here to our cluster, and we're looking for that nice wide stitch, and we're going to do a single crochet, And now we're going to picot on top, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to come back down. We're going to find those 2 little ridges. You can see them right there, hopefully. We're going to go right underneath them, and we're going to slip stitch all the way through and making our picot, just like that. And we're going to repeat this, if you're adding the picot, all the way down your row, and that will make a really cute blanket, or you can just leave it as it's finished, side being the cluster stitches. So it's completely up to you. And the blanket I showed you at the beginning of the video, this is how I left it. And another one that I did, I added the picot because it just really finished it out. The picot that I added was, I did this completely solid. It was like this, but I did the picot and everything in the same exact yarn, so it just made it look a little more intricate to me. It's completely up to you though. I hope you've liked this tutorial. I hope you've learned something new. I hope you enjoy doing this on a blanket very, very soon. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below in the comment section. If you have any feedback, please feel free to leave that as well. If you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe to my channel so I can keep putting on tutorials for you guys. And if you really, really liked it, please feel free to share it. You can share it on any of your social media. The more traffic I get, the better off it is for me, and the more I can grow. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thanks for watching.